Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. I hope you all enjoyed a lovely Christmas. I just came back from visiting my parents, and now we are back to, I guess, the usual. So today's replay is from Vipered, and he's in the Asashi, a tier 8 premium Japanese destroyer. And he's gonna dodge a torp hopefully pretty soon here. So yeah, Vipered is on the map Haven in a 4-point domination game. It's a pure tier 8 battle. There is one raider and there is a carrier. So, well, his dodge brought him out of the camp, but there wasn't that much he could do, unfortunately. Anyway, problem of course is he's an Asashi, so he isn't the best gunboat, and he doesn't have torpedoes that can hit the enemy destroyers, so in a direct fight it's probably not gonna end well for him. And his support is, well, not that supportive. So unfortunately, the other friendly destroyers are nowhere near any objective. The enemy already got C, now they got B. I mean, Viper could have tried to go in there and try to contest some more, but it's not an ideal situation. So he might just go over and try to cap C, because C seems undefended. Now, if there were more help, Viper could try to engage the aetamreplays a bit more. But the problem is the aetamreplays has some very good cover there. So there is that. Now, of course, the aetamreplays would be a great target for the friendly carrier. Of course, it can't even disappear in smoke, but hey, the friendly carrier is... what's he actually doing right now? Well, he has some torp bombers there in the air. We're gonna find out. Now, on the bright side, the Chapayev is low. And that's the only raider. Meanwhile, the friendly destroyer that sailed to the A line for whatever reason got taken out, and nobody's surprised. Well, here come the friendly planes. So is the Lexington going after the aetamreplays? That would be amazing. Well, I mean, we don't know where the aetamreplays is, because there is no reason for it to be sitting behind this island anymore. So yeah, so Viper gets some of his deep waters off, and he gets Chapayev raided. Now on the bright side, the Chapayev is not only low, but Viper is also pretty far away. Unfortunately, he can only shoot if it's detected, otherwise he can't lob the shells over the island. Chapayev raider isn't that long and nobody's shooting Viper, so it looks like he's just chilling here and waiting for his chance to take the cap. Now a cap would be rather lovely, because the friendlies are not only 2 ships behind. Oh, we've lost the other destroyer too. Hey, I mean, okay, the destroyer here in the south managed to sink in the eye line, so we don't have both zone walls covered, but close. Now, unfortunately, both friendly destroyers position themselves horribly, but also unfortunately the friendly team is not actually willing to provide that much support anywhere. Anyway, well, I mean, we have a friendly Harlem here, so Viper does have some help, I guess. Speaking of Harlems, the enemy Harlem is pushing straight into B, and I don't know why. I mean, I have this cap, and you know, there are an Alabama and a Vladivostok up here, and a Teton, so this Harlem is basically broadside to 3 friendly battleships, which... well, I mean, we will see if something happens to the Harlem, but let's hope so. Meanwhile, Viper is engaging his inner gunboat. And he gets some, well, doesn't get too much damage on the Harlem, but then again, he's in an Asashi. And at this point, I think every little bit helps. So the Harlem is slowly getting whittled away. Although, you know, you'd have to expect with the amount of battleships that he's showing broadside to, something bigger happens. But I'm not sure how many of those are actually aware that the Harlem exists. I guess it's probably the friendly Harlem that's gonna do more work there. Okay, so enemy is almost down, which is good because there we go. Viper smoke is running out anyway. So on the bright side, both teams have the same amount of ships and the same amount of camps. On the less bright side, the enemy has managed to get a huge points lead, because for the longest time they held more camps. Now down here in the south we have the Amagi trying to hide behind the friendly carrier. And is obviously further away from the fight than his cruisers. Well, and here we have the Harlem charging a terrible. There are the torps. I'm not sure if the Harlem is hydring right now. I'm also not sure if he's... Like, Harlem probably not the most maneuverable out there. So... yeah, he managed to get himself torp. That's a shame. But Viper sort of even... oh, Viper actually detonated the terrible. Well, I mean, he was slow anyway, but still. Well, Viper avenged the Harlem. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, the friendly battleships there don't have any help there anymore. And they are probably getting hunted by a Cossack and possibly the carrier. The Amaki. Wait, how healthy is that Amaki? Can we see it even? Ah, damn it, it's too far away. I can't see the Amaki anymore. The Amaki is just running into the corner. Well, I guess the carrier is the tank now. Meanwhile, Viper is contemplating going over to B and snagging another cap because the friendlies could really use that. Well, I mean that Vladivostok is coming this way. I'm not sure if he's actually here to help or if he's just running away from someone. But he is here as is the attack. Now the problem, of course, with taking B right now is... well, turns out there is an Irian inside. And... as we've established, that Sasha can't torp cruiser. Now Viper is never gonna gun down the Irian. So... going in there, not gonna work right now. But there is a Tirpitz pushing at the friendly... has the friendly carrier actually ever moved? I don't... is he moving? Well, I mean, he's moving downwards now. So the friendly carrier just sat there and got himself obliterated, while the friendly battleship now managed J10 and is wondering why he can't get even further away from the fight. Well, Viper's got some hopes going towards the Tirpitz. He's used his reload booster and he's probably gonna only some more. Now the Tirpitz is on rather low health, so in some way it might seem like a waste, but... I mean, this Tirpitz needs to sink. The Hipper is rather low. Well, I mean, actually there is an Atago, so Viper is trying to provide a smoke screen for the Atago that has just opened up, so it can safely shoot there. The Atago could also potentially engage the Tirpitz that's coming from the rear, and it looks like the Irian is also going this way, so the Atago should be able to get a lot of use out of that smoke screen, hopefully. I mean, right now the Tirpitz is probably too far away to shoot, but by the time this Tirpitz has sunk, I think the second one is gonna be in range. Now the Hipper is very low. Can we actually finally see that battleship? I wanna see its hit points. I mean, isn't that healthy, but you know, he still has more than enough ready to not just sit in the corner. So turns out Viper's torp actually reached the Tirpitz. You know, between the Atago, the Hipper and the Amagi, I would have expected the Tirpitz to sink a lot sooner. But it turns out Viper's torps were needed after all. Meanwhile, is that Atago actually staying in the smoke? No. So it looks like the Atago never actually tried to stay in smoke, it just sailed straight through it. Which is a bit weird, because, you know, the one Tirpitz was always in range, and the other ships came in range from behind, so just stopping there would have been great. But hey, is he going? No, he's not going towards the smoke. He's sailing parallel to this, of course he is. Well, nice try, Viper, but I think your smoke was rejected. Now the enemy is now contesting the C cap, but Viper is soon going to contest the B cap. Now of all the ships over there, he can only torp the Tirpitz. Is the Atago now going full broadside? Well, I guess it looks like that's it's the Atago's answer to all those enemies. Just show more broadside. Now Viper is patiently waiting for this Tirpitz to make its choice to sail straight in. And it looks like the tier pits might be coming. Well, it slowly is. The thing is, it should speed up. Once it goes straight this way, it should speed up a bit more. And oh, look at that, there's a carrier. Now, an Asasho can torpedo carriers. So that's a very juicy target. Especially since the carrier is not only in reasonable range, but it's even getting closer. Although, since it's detected, the carrier might actually decide to just run away soon. Now the friendly Atago is still alive, so he's decided to show his other broadside because the enemy apparently isn't death-striking him enough. So, you know, unfortunately the carrier has found Viper, but his torps against the tier pits look good, so there goes the tier pit. Well, actually, the enemy carrier... Wait a moment. The enemy carrier decided not to attack Viper. So the enemy carrier saw an Asasho about, what was it, like 8 kilometers from him? And he decided that's none of his business. Well, okay then. So, do you think the carrier will defend himself when he's actually being shot at? We'll see. Now, torps are almost ready. Now, the carrier has at least realized that he's run away. So, the enemy carrier has already, I guess, shown better decision-making than the friendly one, because he's now running away. Now, there is an island, so he can't run away straight. I guess he's gonna turn, go behind this island, and then turn back. Viper has his second torp launcher ready, and he has his reload booster ready. Now, there are only 4 ships remaining on both sides. So yeah, Viper is obviously expecting the carrier to make a turn and run over there. He's trying to figure out a bit more about the carrier, but I mean, there is no way the carrier keeps just sailing like this, right? So he's going on a reload boost, and then he's probably just gonna carpet torp this entire area. Now, it's not looking that great on points. Oh, the friendlies are also a ship behind. I'm really surprised that the Atago is still alive. Meanwhile, the friendly carrier, the enemy carrier is attacking this Atago. The enemy carrier still isn't defending itself. The only thing that's actually threatening Viper right now is that Kansas. This is interesting. So Viper has decided to smoke up here. I mean, the Kansas is still shooting him. I guess it's the only thing that's... Yeah, there we go. There is a big Kansas salvo. Unfortunately, it still managed to get shots off. But Viper has probably decided, because there's gonna be plane spotting, he's just gonna sit here and use the smoke to camp. And also, he can potentially shoot the Kansas. The Kansas is almost in range. Also, interesting enough, like, now Viper got his Kraken, and since he's using Yamamoto, he's now getting a heal. So it's always nice to heal in your destroyer. Now, using that smoke screen, Viper can get some shots at the Kansas. Now, if the Kansas fires its guns, it should be visible again. Let's hope it does. Although there aren't that many ships to shoot at. So the zone wall Amagi actually returned from its zone wall and is still floating, but I'm not really expecting too much, unfortunately, from that zone wall Amagi. The Atago finally got his wish and got sunk. But I mean, the Atago has working on that for a long time, so I guess it finally achieved what it's about to do. So unfortunately it can't... Well, I mean... Thing is... Kansas does have, well, it's not the fastest, it does have a very bad reload. So there might be a very good opportunity to actually ambush it. Now I suppose the one salvo of a Kansas hurt, but if he would be like nose in, he can only use his front guns. And while Viper isn't the, well, destroyer with the most hit points out there, it's still reasonable, and now what he has left, that he should survive a Kansas salvo. Especially if the Kansas doesn't switch to our explosive. So what I'm trying to say is that there is probably a very good opportunity to, like, torpedo the Kansas. Like, the Kansas will only ever get one salvo. There's no way he reloads here in time. So yeah. So yeah, there is one salvo, and that did hurt, but you know, it's not gonna be able to use his rear guns, and it's never going to be able to reload here. So Viper just has enough time to make sure this Kansas is properly sunk. Now, here's the bad news. The bad news is that a Cossack on about equal health, and then a Sasha isn't gonna gun down a Cossack. The Cossack is also going to capture B, which, well, I mean, it only brings the enemies on, like, the equal amount of caps, but see, the enemy is in the lead, right? So both teams have the same amount of caps, but the enemy is about 1 tick ahead, or 2 ticks. And that's a problem. Now we have the barely floating Yamagu pushing the Cossack. I mean, with this amount of hit points, the Cossack could even win a gun duel, especially if it, you know, Yamagu doesn't have heals left. And the Cossack gets good fires. So the Asasha is contesting D and Viper is contesting B. Now Viper is slightly faster with his cap. That means if they trade those caps, I mean, the friendlies could make up... Actually, wait, the friendlies are in the lead now. Because Viper contested this cap sooner, right? The friendlies actually managed to grab the lead, right? There are 20 seconds left though, and there is still a friendly Amagi. Also, the Amagi is contesting B. So, yeah. So there's 12 seconds left now. It looks like Viper can sink the Asasha. I think the Cossack is gonna try to sink the Amagi, but if Viper gets the Asasha, I think that's enough to win. And, hey, the Amagi actually survives. Which brings us to the results. Viper earned himself 3000 base experience. So yeah, he had to work hard for this one, and he achieved 7 kills. Although some of them might have been slight kill secures, still pretty impressive results there, and very well played by Viper. So while a Kraken was his only achievement, he also got plenty of caps, and yeah, as I said before, very well done. Viper kept fighting for the objectives, he kept his cool, and in the end he was able to carry this. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you next time.